Absolutely, and it's a narrative that goes along with actions at the same time. Anand, I want to take that point to my colleague Aman Sharma, also who's joining us on the broadcast. Aman, this line from the interview caught my eye. When we laid out our agenda for the G20, it was welcomed universally because everyone knew that we would bring our proactive and positive approach to find solutions for global issues, and we need not look that further in the past. Just look at the vaccine program where India saved millions of lives around the world.
Absolutely. I think the PM's words put out this forth that the G20 presidency of India is not just an historic event, also in its whole entire expanse and agenda, it is unprecedented. Not just the agenda as you spoke about the vaccine policy or be India's approach towards climate change where we have achieved our goals well before the developed world. Also the extent of the G20. So, we have almost 60 cities holding over 220 events over this entire period of 1 year when India has held the G20 presidency. PM stressing on that. And I think this line where the PM says that India has also advanced the interests of the developing world when it came to the G20. So not even the interests of nations which were not represented in the G20, mainly the countries of the African Union. Some of them are even invitees to the G20 summit this time. And perhaps for the first time in the history of G20, the PM says that the Troika is with the developing world. First with Indonesia, the G20's presidency, now with India, and now it's going to Brazil next. So how the Troika can amplify the voice of the developing world, and the PM has always been very clear about how India is the shoulder for the global south. He has made this point earlier, and in this interview with Moneycontrol, he also says that this comes, India's backing for the global south comes at a time when it's increased tensions due to global geopolitics, when the world is in a way divided between backing Russia or backing Ukraine. India stands at the picture. India's G20 presidency comes at such a crucial time where not just are we able to put forth that agenda which matters, but also bring a larger consensus on the table with all the nations. And our agenda has actually been backed, when he says, by the maximum countries in the developed world. And when we see the G20's presidency coming up, the leader summit coming up later this week, I think that will be on the forefront for everybody to see what Prime Minister Narendra Modi is pressing on the G20 thing, also making a very, very strong case for India's growth. The word he's used that India's growth is not only good for Indians, but also for the world. India is the fastest growing economy right now in the world. Our inflation levels are low, much lower than the global inflation levels. And also saying that India's growth is clean growth, green growth. So in a way, stressing of that's also something which will feature in a big way in the G20 Leaders Summit about India's climate change lead that India has taken on the issue of climate change, as well as in the G20 presidency. I think all those issues will be reflected in the PM's exclusive interview to Moneycontrol, the first digital interview he's ever given. And also when it comes to the G20 presidency, we will see India's agenda dominating and getting voice to countries which are not even represented by G20, India becoming the voice of the global south, Anshuman.